Oh, hello and welcome to Bulimia Sucks, because it does. My name is Kate Hudson Hall, and thank you for listening. So this is a real platform for people to share relatable, uplifting, and inspiring conversations based on bulimia and anorexia and other eating disorders, the victories and the challenges. And these are real stories from people who are suffering or have suffered an eating disorder. And each episode will include their personal stories of where they are now and their personal journeys of their experience with their eating disorder. And then we also talk to professionals who have maybe had an eating disorder and work with people with eating disorders. Now, our guest today is Stephanie. Now, Stephanie Epstein is a founder of the company called Your Highest Heels, and she is a transformational life coach and also an author. And Stephanie will soon be launching a course called Recharge Your Soul, and also her book called Recharge Your Soul, which is 100 meditations from the heart, healing trauma, finding wholeness, and strengthening your recovery. I love that. In her coaching, Stephanie works on healing, intuition blocks, emotional, mental, and spirituality, and physically to empower you to live a full life of abundance and connection. So, welcome, Stephanie. This is so exciting to have you on.
I am honored to be here, Kate. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad we connected.
Absolutely. This is so much fun. So, now let's start off. Now, do you have a funny story for us?
Yes, and it is pertaining to my eating disorder because I know
Okay.
that is the topic of this podcast.
Yeah.
So I've been to a lot of treatment, and I remember in one of my first treatments, it was an intensive outpatient program. And I remember I'm like, we sat down for lunch. I'm like, I'm not eating this grilled cheese. So I take the hot grilled cheese, melted cheese, and I take it, and I think I'm being sneaky, and I put it in my jacket pocket, and it gets all mushy in my jacket pocket. And then they caught me, of course. But the
They
lengths I
saw
would
the
go to.
evidence there. They saw the
Exactly.
great big patch there.
Yes. And it just goes to show the lengths that I'll go to when I'm in my disease.
Yes, yeah, as we all can very much relate to that story, I believe.
Yeah,
Mm, mm.
absolutely.
So now you had a nice variety of eating disorders. So you were saying, oh gosh. So tell us, how old were you when it started, um, and why you feel it developed the way it did?
Yeah, I believe it started around age 11,
Oh
maybe even
gosh.
a little earlier. But it started out with because I told you as I we were talking before this that I suffer from a whole spectrum of an eating disorder or in recovery for that. And it started out with binge eating disorder. And
Right.
I think there were a lot of things going on in my life at the time. My parents were getting divorced. There was just a lot of chaos, and I wanted to check out and find comfort. So I was looking for comfort in the food. But also at the same time, I really wanted to be anorexic. So I was going on these websites to learn how to lose weight and how to change almost my eating disorder from that because I also had body image issues at that point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then changing, because I wanted to be really thin. And so over time, throughout middle school and high school, I would go up and down and up and down where I would not eat and then eat a lot and then not eat and then eat a lot. And then eventually it turned into bulimia, purging form of bulimia. And that was in college, my freshman year. And also anorexia, workout addiction, and just very bad restricting of different food types. So sometimes we call that orthorexia, where I had to eat very clean and
Yeah.
perfect when I was eating. So I have all of that in my history.
Gosh. So it's kind
hmm
of one after the other. One sort of
hmm
morphed into the next one. So what do you think, I suppose, the pattern of eating that developed from the age of 11, and then that goal of yours that you wanted to be really thin, and all your learnings, and I suppose absorbing every possible notion of how to do that, sent you down that route.
Yes, and I read books on
Yeah.
shaming books on how to get skinny and different things like that. And so eventually I did get too thin where I had to be hospitalized and I had to refeed myself
Yeah.
with help, obviously. So,
And
but in
then
a,
and
yeah,
then
go ahead.
after that, is that when you after that was that when you developed the bulimia?
So that was more about the same time. So the bulimia started for about 6 months, and then I say it was both of them
Yeah.
mixed together. And
Yeah.
so it was like also like whack-a-mole with these different facets of an eating disorder with all the ones that I talked about. So if one, let's say I wasn't working out as much, then I wouldn't eat as much. Or if I was eating more, then I would work out more. So it was compensating.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
whatever way you could.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And when you think back, why do you think that whole pattern in your life developed? What do you think caused your eating disorders?
I believe it was trauma. And I believe that I was somewhat predisposed just from history, family history, and everything like that. So I think it's definitely trauma that I experienced.
And was that from when you were very young then?
Yeah, very young,
Yeah.
different types of PTSD.
Yeah.
Sometimes they call it complex PTSD, CPTSD. So I suffered from that, and I think that when people suffer from trauma, or at least for me, that it fuels some kind of way to find comfort somewhere else
Yeah. Yeah.
and control something else because my life was out felt out of control. So I needed something and I needed to form this almost this identity because I it morphed into an identity, my eating disorder.
Yeah.
And then it also, you know, since well now that I am, I've done so much healing work and I'm in recovery and my life looks completely different and my eating disorder looks completely different. I'm able to see what I'm capable of in other areas of my life. And that's why I formed this company, Your Highest Heels, being a certified transformational life coach, and wrote a book because I know that's my purpose is to help others. So I've turned my pain into purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Gosh. Gosh. And so do you remember what the turning point was, that moment that you thought, okay, I really need to listen to what people are telling me. I need to start on that, taking that first step onto that pathway to recovery.
Absolutely. I think there were a lot of turning points actually,
Yeah.
because I suffered from so many different facets of an eating disorder. So it'd be like one, I would become completely abstinent from, and then it would obviously, we talked about the whack-a-mole, it would turn into something else. So let's say I, wasn't purging anymore, then I was restricting more. So something like that. So, but I would have turning points where I'd be like, I'm ready to let go of this and surrender this behavior. And I would. And then, so slowly but surely,
Yeah.
as I did my healing work and as I continue to do my healing work, it gets better and better and better. But there were many bottoms that I had where it was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I can't live my life this way. And the more I dove into the deeper trauma that was underneath all of that,
Right.
the more healing I experienced in my
I
life.
I think that's really poignant for people to hear that. So the more that you kind of got down to the root cause
Mhm.
of what had caused the patterns, the I suppose, it's like peeling away layers of an onion, isn't it? And recovery is, stages, it's steps. And you begin by peeling away that first layer, and then you sort of feel a little better. And then maybe something might happen, and then you sort of could step back, and then back and forth, back and forth. But as you keep getting down further and further to the root causes of those true feelings and experiences, and working through them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So important. So important.
Yeah. Because I remember for me, I was abused when I was 8.
Mhm.
And I didn't ever actually tell anyone or talk to anybody about it until I was like 32. I
Wow.
didn't
Yeah.
tell anyone, even though it happened with another girl. We never spoke about it. We were still friends, but we never spoke about it.
Right.
But I didn't, speak to my therapist eventually until I was like 32. So I never, I had just held on to it.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah.
once I did start to, talk about it, it was just such a huge weight, a huge relief to be able to, you know, let go of that.
Yeah. And have a space for it to be held and heard and
Yeah.
for us to be seen,
And not
because
judged.
exactly, because it's a lonely place to be
Mm.
when we're not sharing that stuff. And it brings on, for me, when I wasn't able to share things like that, shame and everything
Yeah.
that comes along with the shame. And so I definitely relate to that experience that you had as well.
Yeah. So I suppose, what people can learn from this. It was very unhealthy for me to hold on to that dark secret for such a long time. And if I had spoken about it earlier, I think that I would have recovered earlier. I would
Mm,
have begun to recover much earlier.
mm,
But I didn't have the guidance to be able to do that, and the support, I suppose.
yeah.
What do you think? Do you think it would have helped you if you'd have um, spoken about it earlier?
I didn't know how to speak about it. So I just look at my journey as everything happened exactly how it was supposed to happen. When
Yeah,
I look back, when I reflect, I mean, absolutely, if I talked about it earlier, I probably would have, I don't know if the right word is like sped up my recovery, but I think everything happened exactly how it was supposed to happen. And the amount of treatment centers I went to, um, you know, each one helped me more and more and more.
yeah, differently probably,
Exactly.
because you'd have been in a different place.
Right. So, like, first it was denial, then it was awareness, then it was actually letting go of the behaviors, and then it was almost like my mindset around my body image. And so, all of that together was all of my healing work. It came in stages. And so, I mean, it's almost like it gets better and better each day the more gentle I am with myself.
The
And
kinder that you are to yourself. Yeah,
yeah. And some of my
absolutely.
mentors are like, they say to me, well, we have to be gentle. And um, I think that's how we heal, is by being gentle, because this disease, I call it a disease, is so painful and brings so much shame. And I think just really looking at it as I'm going to be curious about my eating disorder, like what is happening throughout my day, whether it's with food, whether it's a behavior, whatever it is. Like it's like taking data instead of looking at it as I'm going to beat myself up for what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, Stephanie, do you think, well, like you said, I didn't feel ready to talk about that experience when I was younger. But if somebody was going through that now, and with your knowledge and your experience now, what do you feel that you could say to them that maybe
Mm,
may help them slightly to begin to address that and maybe open up?
absolutely. I think it takes so much bravery and so much courage
Yeah.
to be able to open up. And I think it all has to be done in our own time.
Yeah.
But I think it's about finding the right help and the right support professionally too, in order to have that safe space. I think that's where it starts, is feeling safe
Mm.
enough to share it with somebody,
Mm.
because as we talked about, it takes that weight off of our shoulders. And then we can begin to unpeel the onion and then be able to really look at what is going on deeper here, and release it, whether that's through tears, whatever way somebody needs to release it, in their own time. And so I just say, don't give up. Keep doing what, if you're getting help right now, keep doing what you're doing, and be patient. Be patient.
Yeah.
And if you're ready to talk about it with that safe person, for me, I was seen, I was heard, and that weight got lifted off my shoulders. And it was in piecemeal, so there
Yeah.
was a lot that happened with my trauma, so it was like a little here, a little there. So, and I do a bunch of different I did EMDR.
Oh, I do
Use
that. Lovely.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's great. I do somatic experiencing, talk therapy, trauma therapy. So I've
So
done a lot
for
of different things.
so for people that don't know what EMDR is, it's eye movement desensitization reprocessing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's working with difficult past experiences to be able to help you to move forward from that.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar to, it's like as if you would still have that memory, but you haven't got the feelings linked back to now. And so every time you think about that memory in the past, maybe you've got those same feelings,
Right.
and it's kind of breaks the link between the two. So you still got the memory, but you just haven't got those huge emotional feelings that may come up when you
Exactly.
think about that experience.
Yeah, it's really a beautiful process, but I had to be ready to do it.
Yes.
And I think it also forms a new belief system.
Yeah.
So, what I used to believe about myself, I have a different belief now. So, if I believed that I was this bad child or something, then I'm forming new beliefs like I am good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's recognizing that's how you thought of yourself, how you believe, what you believed about yourself, isn't
Right.
it?
Yes,
Awareness is the first step, isn't it? And then being able to take that forward and think, okay, well, how am I going to remold this, if you like, and change this belief? Because I work a lot with people with beliefs, and I believe, believe about beliefs. Um, it's there's usually with a limiting negative belief, there's usually lots of different experiences, isn't there, that people have had that have created this belief that they believe about themselves. And this is their way of thinking at the moment.
Mm,
But once they understand that, yes, they maybe have had all these different experiences, that is why they think like they are, it's their choice whether they go on to carry on thinking this way, or they understand that, yes, you've had these past experiences, but you can change, and you can start to change the way you think. and start to create a new positive belief for you to
Exactly.
focus on rather
Exactly.
than that old belief. But it's
Yes.
your choice, because it would be my choice to carry on thinking that I was stupid for the next, 50 years, God willing, because I had a limiting negative belief that I was stupid all my life till I was in my 30s. And then it was like, oh, is this what's been going on all this time? Oh, because part of me knew that I wasn't stupid, but I had like all these different experiences that led up to, oh, I'm stupid. And then I decided that I would change and start to be aware of what my negative thinking, and then change the thinking and refocus my mind and build a new neural pathway.
Yes, the new neural pathway. I love that.
Absolutely.
And that is what helps so much with healing from an eating disorder, exactly what you just talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can resonate with that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
That's been a lot of my healing work has been
Yeah.
reprocessing.
Yeah.
So the memories may never go away, that experience may never go away, but reprocessing and releasing
Yeah.
and forming new beliefs around myself definitely has helped me around my eating disorder, because I think, and when I'm in my eating disorder, it's so destructive. Like it's like I'm destroying myself. And so if I believe that I'm unworthy, then it's easier to stay in that place. But if I believe I'm good enough and
Yeah.
I can walk out into the world and be like, my body is just how it's supposed to be, right? Or I am the person I am, the human being that I am is good enough,
Yeah.
then I'm gentler with myself, especially around eating disorder behaviors.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's so important for people to hear.
Hmm.
Because quite often people with an eating disorder, they have all of these negative thoughts about themselves, beliefs about themselves, that they're not good enough in some way.
Right.
Yeah. And being aware that's the way they're thinking. And if they, when they're ready, but if they do stay in that negative thinking, then it is going to make it easier for them to stay in that negative behavior, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a survival mechanism to be in that behavior.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Survival. It's
Mm.
survival.
Yeah.
Looking for a way to survive.
Yeah.
But then as we do the healing work, we get to thrive. And then we have this beautiful, like, pain. I mean, I call it like a beautiful, painful experience, because when we heal from it, we get to pass along the, hope that we can get better
Yeah.
and then help people. And I think that gives me a sense of purpose when I never had a sense of purpose. So I feel like I can relate to people who are in it and carry a message of hope, which is so
Absolutely.
important.
Yeah. And I think it's hard for people when they're sort of in the middle of it to believe that they can come out of it, move forward from it. But
Right.
by working with you and seeing that you have achieved that, it not only gives them hope, but it gives them more than that. It's giving them that belief that they can do it as well because of
Mhm.
looking at you
Like
or
giving
me.
them
Or whoever.
a chance, because for me, I didn't recognize my own hope. When I was 18, deep in my bulimia and anorexia, I would have never in a million years, first of all, imagined my life the way that it is, and imagined that I didn't want an eating disorder. When I was 18, I wanted it so bad.
Mm.
I wanted it. And so I never knew that I would get to the place where I don't want this anymore. This is not how I want to live my life. There's so much more. There's so much more to life. And there's so much freedom to be had. And even though in that moment, in that time period, I didn't recognize my own hope, the hope was there and other people helped me. So I feel like it's my job to pass that on to other people now.
I love that. Oh, I love that. Yeah. So, Stephanie, tell us where you are now. with your
Yeah.
life and how long you've been recovered and what's happening?
Yeah, that's a good question because I think it's so important people know. Well, one, I just want to say I am not perfect, uh, but
But who is?
right, exactly. And I mean with my eating disorder, but
Yeah.
I don't purge anymore. It's been, I don't know, I didn't count the years, but maybe 8 years. I haven't purged.
Wow.
I eat my meal plan. I don't restrict. I have
Amazing.
an exercise plan, which I stick to. I'm gentler on myself. I have a dietitian. I have therapists, more than one, and I do therapy groups. And
Yeah.
I think I need all of these things. I'm also in a 12-step program, so I have a sponsor there. And
Amazing.
yes, yes. So,
And how do you find, I have a question because I know that there are, particularly in the UK, a lot of people struggle with groups.
mm,
Mm. So how do you find that?
I struggled too in the beginning and it was really hard and I was very resistant.
Mm.
But I found that relationships are so important and connection.
Yeah.
But as I moved through the discomfort of being in a group, because I think what a group sometimes does is reenact our family systems, depending on what type of group we're in. And what I mean by that is sometimes, like, I locate different people in my family or old, friends that maybe I had trauma with, and it really like brings that out in the group. And then for the kind of group that I'm in a trauma group, but then I get to work through that. It's almost like the same thing as reprocessing. Like I'm reprocessing and learning how to interact in that relationship in a new way and have a corrective experience.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, that's the type of group I'm in. But yes, I was very resistant, very uncomfortable in the beginning, and I was challenged all the time, but it was necessary because I had so many breakthroughs in so many
So you
areas of
did.
my life. And so now I stay. I stay in the group. And this group addresses all different types of disorders, trauma, mental health. So it's been life changing for me to be in a group and to have that ultimately to have that connection with others as I get to know them
Right.
better.
Right. So to have that connection with others, because
Hmm.
you can relate to them, on a
Exactly.
deeper level.
Yes. And I think that sometimes I really believe this is a disease of separation. And so the solution to it is connection to myself, connection to others, and for me, connection to my higher power, which I believe my higher power is always guiding me and looking out for me. And so I think it's so important. And that's why my course is called Recharge Your Soul 1.0. And we go through the course individually, and then everybody moves into Recharge Your Soul 2.0, which is a group setting. So I will be leading groups within
Oh, I
that course.
see.
Because I've seen that my clients have been asking for connection and accountability. And I think it's so important to have those other people to relate to and to get close to and to be understood. And so,
So they would start off individually working with you,
right.
and then once they get to a certain stage, then they
Mhm.
would join the group.
Yes. So they could still see me individually once they join the group, but it's for my course, it's a 4-week course. So you'll meet with me once a week,
Yeah.
one-on-one, and then you'll be doing the course throughout that, and then you will go into group coaching.
Oh,
So,
I love it. That's
yeah,
a fantastic idea.
yes.
Fantastic idea. And what would you say, if somebody was like, well, I don't want to join a group.
That's okay. That's their choice, and so I think
So
I
would
would
you
encourage.
explain how that's how you felt?
Yes. So share my experience and obviously encourage who, the client to go into the group coaching or at least try it out.
Mm,
And even though it might be difficult, maybe it'll be easy. Maybe it'll be they love it, right? So
absolutely.
everybody's different, but I encourage people to stay in the course,
Yeah.
in the group.
Yeah. I love that. And is it virtual?
Yes, it'll be virtual.
Right. Right.
And yeah.
So, so you haven't, that's not up and running yet, is it?
Right, because I'm currently
Because,
pregnant,
oh,
due in July. So I would never
oh,
want to start up the course and then stop it, because I want to be present for my baby and have that time with my baby before we go into the group coaching and the course one-on-one individual coaching.
yeah.
So yeah, so I'll release it after that and it's all ready to go.
Oh,
And I'm super excited and super pumped,
yeah.
but I just think, with my timeline, it makes most sense to wait till.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. How exciting. What a
Yes.
journey you've got ahead of you.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, so also you've written a book.
Yeah.
So tell us about your book.
Yes. So my book is also called Recharge Your Soul. It's
Yeah.
100 meditations from the heart. So it's about healing trauma, finding wholeness, and strengthening your recovery. So there are 100 meditations, obviously. And when I say meditations, they're kind of like devotional passages. And if, you know, they each have a different topic. So some of the topics are like letting go, pain, acceptance, healing, trauma, spirituality, hope, manifestation, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
So there are different meditations for each one. Uh,
Fabulous.
yes.
So to
So
help such a wide variety of problems that somebody may have.
exactly. And it's all about hope and really.
Mm.
So it talks about, there are some deep passages in there that talk about, things that could be painful, but at the end of the passage, there's a message of hope every time. And there's a little prayer or a little, uh, for today, I'm going to do this for today. So it's really a way to start off our day. And depending on where you're at, you can go to the index and you can be like, oh, I'm feeling painful emotions today. So
Yeah.
I'm going to read about releasing emotions
Oh, lovely, lovely.
and then set up my day so that I can feel more free.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that. Have you got one that you could read us now?
Sure, sure, absolutely.
Oh,
So I'm going to read, let's see. It's the section is manifestation, and the
great.
title of the passage is Believe in Yourself. So
Oh,
I'll just read a little bit here. Believe in yourself, your talents, your abilities, and who you truly are and what you offer this world. Every person on earth is unique. Although we are all the same when it comes to all being created by our Creator, we also each have our individual uniqueness. We each have so much to offer this world, even if you don't see it yet. Be who you are, be your true self, because you are one of a kind and you are good enough. We sometimes want to be someone else. So much of our time, we compare ourselves to others. Maybe it's what they have materially, their type of smartness, their capabilities, their relationship, their fame. This leads to self deprecation, criticism, and even deep loneliness and separation. We praise others and forget to love who we are. We separate ourselves from the world because we stop believing in ourselves. Sometimes we might not have a sense of who we are because we are so used to the comparison, we lose ourselves in the process of growing into our own uniqueness. Tap into who you truly are, and you will be guided to who you truly want to be. The world is awaiting your calling. When we realize this, we become confident in who we are and our uniqueness we have to offer this world. We begin to see that we don't have to be anyone else. The light will guide you, lead you, and already knows your calling. The more you crack open to endless possibilities that your uniqueness has to offer this world, The empowerment of who you truly are will shine brightly for others to see. Today, I will believe in myself and what I have to offer the world. If I feel doubtful, I will remember that it's never too late to follow my dreams and shoot for the stars.
Oh, shoot for the stars. That is just beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, when is it being released? We want to buy it now.
So it's supposed to be, yes. So it's supposed to be pre-launched in August. So it'll be up on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and a couple of other international sites. So
if it's on Amazon, then it'll be on
for sure.
on the
Yeah.
.co.uk one over here, and all of them. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, we'll have to watch out for it.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh. So how do people find you?
Yes. So you can go either to my website, which is www.yourhighestheals. And when I say heals, it's HEALS.
Oh, that's so clever. I love that.
Yes. So yourhighestheals.com.
Yeah.
And then you can also find me on Instagram, which I am on quite a lot, which is also Your Highest Heals, HEALS.
Yeah. Okay, good. Oh, that's fabulous. And when roughly, I know this is going to be a very difficult question, but with regards to the coaching, when do you think what's the timeline there that you're sort of maybe
I would
start
say
practicing?
probably November, after the 120 days when my book is pre-launching. So I kind of get to sit back a little bit when my book pre-launches for 120 days, and then, I'll be with my baby, and then I'll be back. Yeah. And it could be earlier. We'll see. But I just want to say November, just because I want to give myself enough time.
Oh, yes, you do. How exciting. What an exciting future you have.
Yes.
Yay. And how long did it take you to write the book?
So I wrote it about 3 years ago. I started it. So I would say it took me 6 months, and then I kind of added to it throughout the other 2 years. I just added, maybe 20 passages here and there when I felt like writing. But this was never like I decided, oh, I want to be an author and write a book. It kind of just happened. I sat down and I started writing like I was journaling, and then it turned into a book.
Oh, amazing.
So, yeah.
Amazing. Oh, we can't wait to read it.
Yes. I'm excited for everybody to get the book, and the point is to help others. So if it can give others hope, I did my job.
Absolutely. And coming on here, I'm sure you've helped so many people. So thank you, Stephanie.
Oh, thank you for having me. This has been wonderful.
Yeah, no, it was excellent hearing your journey, but then also hearing all your wisdom.
Thank you.
So that's all for today's episode of Bulimia Sucks. So thank you to everybody for listening to Stephanie and I, and join us again on the next episode of Bulimia Sucks. And make sure that you subscribe to the podcast on Apple, iTunes, or wherever you listen to it, so you never miss an episode. And plus, if you haven't already heard about it, check out my book, Bulimia Sucks, on Amazon to learn many different techniques to help you to begin to break through your painful bulimic behaviors. And also check out, which is about to be released, well, it's up on Amazon now, the Bulimia Sucks personal food journal, which is very exciting to help to support people in their recovery journey. And also the audiobook is going to be launching soon, which will be on Audible and Amazon and iTunes. And I made it myself. Let me warn you. So thank you so much for listening. And I will speak to you again in the next episode.